Reflection, pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Present.
Mrs. King?
Here.
Mr. O'Brien? Absent. Mr. Schuler?
Here.
Mr. Tinkin? Absent. Mr. Vorbeck?
Here.
Mayor Mechanical?
Here. Pursuant to the requirements of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice filed in the office of the Borough Clerk, posted on the Borough website, and on bulletin board in the municipal building. Published as a legal notice in the Co-Star newspaper and mailed to those requesting notice and providing payment in accordance with borough policy. Need a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion. Second.
We have a second. Thank you. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve the minutes for June 8th, 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Do we have any questions on the minutes?
Is that the executive session or?
That would be for executive.
Excuse me, Mayor, it's, pardon the interruption, it's just for the regular session.
Okay,
Just regular
good
session.
then, okay, thanks.
Regular session. Any other question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We don't have any presentations at this time, but we do have two guests that would like to introduce themselves to us at this time. Step forward.
Thank you very much, Mayor. My name is Kieran Tintle. This is John Meehan. We're both new to Jersey Central Power and Light area managers. When Pete Jonah retired, your previous area manager, I started covering this on a reactionary basis. John Meehan has been hired now, 2 months now, and we're going to be working together. This is part of both of our territory right now for the next few months to kind of bring him up to speed with the company and what's going on here in town. And we just want to come by tonight and introduce ourselves and say hello.
Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
And the only thing I really have to say is, well, I'm sure you're aware, a few years back we had Superstorm Sandy. We had a big problem with the electric.
Understood.
You're not the only. You're not the only one.
No.
Yeah, we've been. I believe that the company has recognized some of those issues, and they've put more staff on, like here, myself, and make sure that the towns have
Is that the case of a lot of the substations flooding? Is that it?
Yeah. Well, we've also taken some efforts into towards the flood mitigation, where we're putting up sandbag walls to prevent flooding.
Locally, both the Stockton substation and the Glendola substation already have mitigation plans in place. If you pass by them at all, you'll see we have at one location what's called HESCO bag, another is trap bag. They're very large canvas cells that are filled with sand, covered with a UV protection, and within 24 hours of a storm, the gate is sealed, and it's something that the Port Authority uses, MJ Transit uses, has a very good reputation nationally for storms and flooding.
Yeah, a couple of questions. And there were utility poles that were broken during Sandy. Did that contribute to some of the power outages as well?
Yes and no. One of the bigger things that we saw was that trees were damaging not only distribution lines, but also bulk transmission lines. And as we all know, even that light right there is connected to a wire, which is connected to a wire, which comes off of bulk transmission lines. So when that...
I just was wondering, have they ever considered burying the power? Because
Yes.
I know a lot of towns do that, and I would just imagine the maintenance costs would go way down.
Yes and no. The immediate cost would be astronomical. On top of that, cables fault. Above ground, underground, they fault. Yes, especially around the beach area with so much salt in the water table. And as a result of that, when underground cable faults, you don't know where it is because you can't see it. You either have to use a very...
Just a question, I didn't want to, you know.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to explain why.
I know, like Deal, which is right on the beach, that's a big problem, but whatever.
When there is an outage with an underground cable, it could be substantial. Where we have an outage here, if the animal contact or a tree limb takes out a line, it could be back on within an hour. That's very unlikely with the underground cable. And finding, locating it, digging it up, making repair.
Just curious.
Yeah, they have their pros and cons.
Anyone else have a question?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we have a unique situation here in town where our seventh graders in the grade school come over and they take part in what they call Youth Government Day. So they take on positions of council, mayor, fire, police chief, all of that. And this year they were very, very organized and they had some very good questions and some concerns. And one of their concerns is something that we have heard from the adult residents as well, and that is the lights. Lights going out and taking too long to be repaired and to be put back on.
Street lights?
Street lights. So my question is, what can be expedited in that manner to get these lights repaired?
We do have a goal of 3 days from the time that a light is reported, but it is on the ratepayer to report that light. We are not responsible for monitoring the street lights.
Correct.
The way the tariff is written.
Correct, but if we were to get it out there that, just like we do everything, if you see something, report it. Also, if you see a light out, report it.
Absolutely.
You're saying that the turnaround time is around 3 days?
3 days.
3 days. Yeah, 3 days. And it's easily reportable through our website, through JCP&L.
The app, if you're on Facebook, you can report street light out through there. That's something we're really trying to push out. So I can get you some literature if you'd like, maybe something to go on your website. That would be a big help to us.
Well, the literature would be good for someone like me who's not computer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's
You can get it on our website too, that's good.
But,
I'll bring
anything
some-
about the website information or whatever, because then we can, put it out, disseminate it to, as I say, the children themselves were concerned about this because they said when they're coming and going to the parks, not even really late, like let's say 8:30 between there and 9 o'clock, it's starting to get dark.
Absolutely.
And so they were concerned about the light.
I'll drop some literature off tomorrow.
Okay, fine.
Called
That's
in
good.
twice, and it was fixed the next day.
Okay, good.
It was fixed the next day?
I called in 2 different times, and they were fixed the next
Next
day.
day, yeah. and
Okay, so that's a good run, thanks, George.
They aim for the 72 hours.
We're holding ourselves to a strong standard there.
Okay, good, very good.
And we won't know, nothing goes off in our shop saying that this light is out. So
Okay,
we don't know unless the township, a resident, or somebody reports it. And well, like Kieran said, he'll drop off the literature for you. And I'll also give you an example. I think it's one of the other towns in the area have a link on their homepage of their township's website. Says JCP will report an outage, report a street light out, and it'll take you right through the whole process.
very good, very
They're
good,
trying.
very good. Now, you two are in the same department?
We're both external affairs. We're area
Okay.
managers. I'm strictly Monmouth County. He's split between Monmouth and Ocean.
And Kieran has been covering this area since Pete John retired. So I am now the full-time area manager. So he's bringing me to speed.
Do you have business cards with you?
I handed up the other thing. I just flew it from
Does he
Florida.
have-
Yes, he does. The mayor does as well. I just flew it from Florida literally hours ago and drove up here, got changed, and it was a little bit so.
When they report the outage, they need the phone number?
Yes, the phone number is very helpful, and there is a little note section on there. If you could give an address, just to help the trouble. And usually they come out in the middle of the night and do it. So if there's a point of reference across the street, always helpful to throw that in there. They'll find it even if it's just the pole number that's mentioned. And
Okay, that's
if
good.
there's ever an issue, our cell phone numbers are on our cards. And please feel free to use them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Any other questions?
This may be beyond you guys, but we've had discussions here about doing the energy audit and energy efficiency and changing lights, and I know that other utilities have programs that are out there to encourage upgrades to street lights, going to LEDs, alternate sources. JCP&L seems to be a few thousand miles behind other utilities. I'm curious if there's a plan we don't know about or something they're working on.
The other utilities in state,
There's particularly up north and northwest, I'm aware of a couple
well, I know that,
municipalities that have gone through programs through their supplier to change to LED lights and alternate lights.
all right, I know that there's something with the BPU right now, because there's no tariff in New Jersey for LED lights. So since we're regulated, we can't offer them right now without the BPU approving that tariff.
Gotcha.
So we have brought something to them that's being reviewed. And as far as an energy audit goes, that all goes through the BPU.
Well, hand in hand, we talk about that, and one of our biggest expenses to the utility is the streetlights.
Mhm.
And since we have zero control over changing them from the older lights that are much more of a power hog and clearly not energy efficient by any stretch of the imagination, I was curious, since you own them and technically we rent them from you, what options were there for us to upgrade or anything to that effect?
Absolutely, yes.
Sounds
We met with Mr. Delaney 2 weeks ago, right, on that subject. So we were discussing that and some other cost savings on the topic of streetlights. So we're actually working on something right now
Terrific.
to get back to him, and we'll be sure to keep the
That's
council
great to hear.
in the loop as far as that goes.
On the LED streetlights, if a municipality up north has that, it's most likely post-meter, where they own the lights and they just pay the electric bill off that meter. So
Understood.
they wouldn't be provided.
Okay.
Because the other utilities.
I figured I had the Ben in front of us who can answer the question, that's why I appreciate it very much.
What we're supposed to.
Good thing. Hopefully, something comes down soon.
Terrific, thank you.
I know you'll see me more often, since this is one of my towns, I'll be.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, when you come back again, can you bring a few extra cards so we can all have a card?
Yes.
I'll stop back here tomorrow or Wednesday.
I can,
Well, if you could just image those and email
the
me.
easiest way as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem at all.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you very much for having us. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, folks.
At this time, we have a scheduled public hearing for the 2015 salary and wage ordinance for the year 2015. This is the ordinance establishing the salary and wages for the borough employees. If you have a comment, you can step forward, give your name and an address about the 2015 salary and wage ordinance. Seeing no hands, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gary, can we adopt it this time?
Yes, you're not making any amendments to the ordinance in itself, so you can go forward with that.
We can adopt this as is. Need a motion to adopt the 2015 salary and wage ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
And a second.
I'll second
Do
it.
we have any questions on it? A roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Vorback?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. This time in the meeting, we have the public comment section where you may speak on any agenda item you like. Just step forward, give your name and address on any agenda item. Need no hands? Need a motion to close it?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No discussion items at this time. We do have council reports. We'll start with Councilman Champion.
Yes, sir. The only note that I have that I want to get out there is tomorrow, SMUA is doing a shutdown between 12 and 1, so there may be some brief discoloration of water, just a warning to the residents. It should last, hopefully, as long as they say, and whatever problems occur should clear rather quickly, but unfortunately, that's beyond us. When they shut down our supply and we rely on wells, it forces some areas to circulate water in the opposite direction and may stir up debris. We have zero control over it, so I just want everybody to be aware of it.
Thank you. Councilman Timpton is not here on his behalf. I just have a few announcements I'll make. Summer camp starts next Monday, June 29th. It runs through Friday, August 7th. An extended week for August 10th and the 14th is available. And Mr. Timpton made a comment here that there's 217 registered applicants, most in 3 years. And also, there will be free concert outside the municipal building at the gazebo, Thursday, July 2nd from 7 to 9 p.m. That's before the fireworks at the golf club, and that would be with Billy Lawler. Councilman Corbett.
Nothing to report at this time, Mayor.
Councilwoman King.
I have a couple of things. First of all, I've been asked by the police department to update the public on two issues that have been brought up at previous meetings. One was the tap house. They have been doing surveillance of the tap house on 9 different occasions on their own, and then if there have been any calls, they have responded, which there haven't been hardly any. There is no what was referred to as animal house. There is nothing like that going on there. Everything seems to be very calm, and no need really for any surveillance of the tap house. Also, Lover's Lane was brought up, and they have been over there approximately 10 times on different occasions, and they have found absolutely nothing going on over there. And that's at the end of 6th Avenue near Atlantic. The other thing that I do want to make mention of is, if you haven't noticed, take a look out in the front and you will see the new sign that was put up designating where the police department is located, which is something that our DPW superintendent took care of as soon as he came back from his honeymoon. And I thank him very, very much for that, because there has been difficulty locating the police department, especially now that it's the summer, and if there is arrests or if there's accidents or whatever and people have to come and get a report or pick somebody up, they did not know where to go. The other sign that's going to go up in front of the building, I believe, is in the ordering process. That, however, takes a little longer to get, because Joe had this police sign made up very quickly within 2 days, and the other sign is going to take a little bit longer, probably 6 to 8 weeks if I understand it correctly. And just remember, anything that you see, anything that goes on that you think is suspicious, please call, report it. If you have kids congregating, because I know that that's a complaint that I have gotten from a couple of people, just call up and have the officers come and disband it. The other thing, which goes back to last summer around this time, is the traffic light at Warren Avenue and Old Mill. That is in the works still. It's being reviewed by a board. I don't know who's on the board. I don't know what the board consists of, but I do know that it's under review, and they're supposed to be getting back to us. The other location that we've had some complaints about is Ocean Road and Old Mill. And I sat down with Joe May last week after our planning board meeting, and we have come up with a design for that intersection, because to put another traffic light up there, it won't qualify. There hasn't been enough accidents, there hasn't been enough things. So we're going to probably put a line down the center of the road up to that intersection coming from the west, and then there will be a specific lane to go off onto Old Mill Road to the south with an arrow and a stop sign. And there will be somewhat of a diamond or a triangle or something put in there and striped, so people know that they either got to go straight or they have to turn. So hopefully we will eliminate issues at that location as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Schuler.
Yeah, I report the air conditioning unit in this municipal building failed, and we had to replace it at a cost of $6,500. It's done, what, 2 weeks ago, Joe?
Yes, last week.
Last week? Okay. In addition to that, in my area, we received our card from Monmouth County for the 100% reassessment. Some of the residents have approached me very concerned with this. They just got reassessed through Monmouth County's magical reassessment program, and their assessments went up. they felt that they couldn't take a day off from work because they needed a day's pay to pay their taxes. If the Monmouth County has such a magical program, I don't see why we should pay an outside auditor firm to come in here. That was the opinion I was getting from the residents. In addition to that, I have received a couple phone calls from the FBI stating that I owed back taxes. Number one, I didn't owe back taxes. Number two, the FBI is not the agency that calls you. It'll be the IRS if you owe any back taxes. So if you get one of those calls, report it to the police department. That's all I got.
Thank you, Jim. We have a few reports and notices. Everybody have a chance to look at those? Okay. Ordinance, do you have any comments on it? No. Ordinance introduction. Ordinance 2015-05, salary and wage for public work employees for year 2015. Need a motion and a second?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Roll call, Janine?
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a few resolutions we have to go through. You got ready?
They are going to go, pardon the interruption, just I wanted to announce, we'll have the public hearing on that at our next council meeting,
Next council meeting, which will be
July 13th.
July 13th. Thank you. There will be a public hearing on the salary and wage orders for public employees, public works employees. Resolution R 2015-110, appointing a member to the Board of Health.
I'll make that motion.
Let me find that. Hold on 1 second, Jim. Barbara Rose, yes, thank you. Barbara Rose is volunteering to be a member of the Board of Health. Need a motion and a second?
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And we appreciate all the volunteers we can get for these positions. They're hard to come by. And we thank for them. Resolution R 2015-111, appointing DPW seasonal employee, Mr. Peter, and I will not try to say the last name, Januszewski. Need a motion and a second?
Make that motion.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-112, appointing summer rec employee. Need a motion and a second?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any questions? This would be for Mr. Matthew Clark. Roll call, Judy?
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Resolution R 2015-113, confirming the appointment of the deputy tax collector, utility collector, which would be Miss Mary Ellen Karamis. Need a motion and a second?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions?
You need to consider the amendment to paragraph 1, which would change to effective January 1st, 2015, rather than effective this date.
2016, so this would be revised.
You say that again, I couldn't hear you, Gary.
You're changing paragraph number 1 from saying effective this date to effective January 1st, 2015.
2015.
All
Made a motion.
I'll make that
You need
motion.
to amend, and then you
I'll second for the amendment.
Any question on the amendment? Roll call.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Borbeck?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we need a motion and a second
Make that
for
motion.
the resolution.
We did that.
Oh, the resolution itself, you're right.
Yeah, I did that. And you seconded, right?
Yes.
That was
Any
the
questions?
amendment.
Excuse me?
Of the amended one?
I'll make the motion to
Adopt the resolution as amended.
as amended, thank you.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-114, confirming permanent appointment of Public Works labor.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-115, authorizing mayor to execute collective bargaining agreement with the Spring Lake Heights Employees Association. Need a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll give a second.
Do we have any questions on the collective bargaining agreement with the Employees Association? Roll call, Janine?
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-116, authorizing 2015 salaries for designated borough officials and employees. Need a motion and a second.
Do we have to,
We have
do we have to amend
We amended this too.
Don't think we do we, Gary?
This is the one that you have to amend
Yeah.
to reflect some of the changes, so I think, Jay, you have notes on that.
Yes,
I don't know if I can
under
remember.
item number 3, I'm sorry, item number 2, the salary for chief financial officer shall be authorized in the amount of $7,500. The tax collector, utility collector salary authorized in the amount of $10,000. Paragraph 3, the salary authorization for the emergency management coordinator has been removed. And also in section 3, the top of page 2, the salary for the deputy tax utility collector is being changed. The revised amount is $53,045.
So
Jay,
And in there, the effective date of that should also reflect the January 1, 2015 date.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
For the amendment.
Do we have any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we need the motion for the regular resolution. Thank you.
As amended.
As
As
amended.
amended.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien? Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-117, authorizing agreement for use of the school facilities with the Spring Lake Heights Board of Education. Motion and a second, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Do you have any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-119,
Shared service agreement for maintenance, 118.
Right, 118.
Oh,
118.
118.
yeah, I'm sorry. 118, authorizing share service agreement for maintenance with the Spring Lake Heights Board of Education.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-119, authorizing the execution of raw water purchase contract.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Just an explanation on that. What we just voted on was the decrease we had been working on early in the year from our obligatory $425,000 a day that we were not using. We just reduced it to $386 in contract for the next 20 years. So
20 or 25?
25.
25.
25.
Yeah. We get an extra 5 years out of the deal.
And we're not obliged to pay for almost 100,000 gallons we weren't using.
Right,
We're just
right.
at 50 something.
It's a good deal.
Thank you, Chris. Resolution R 2015-120, this is waiving the permit from Spring Lake Heights Elementary School, World Methodist Church.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-121, approving the fireworks display for the Spring Lake Golf Club.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Resolution R 2015-122, approving the payment of claims for the June 17, 2015 bill list.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the bills? Roll call, please.
Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mrs. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Warbeck?
Yes.
Motion passes.
This point in meeting, we have the public comment section where you can speak on any item you like. You step forward, give your name and address. Seeing no hands, need a motion to close the public comment section.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No further comments. Need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.